Hey guys, my name is Lauren and I'm our Elementary Ministry Director here at LifeChurch. We just want to thank all of you for joining us online with LCKIDS this week. We want to encourage you guys also, as you're able, to come join one of our live services here at LifeChurch at 9 a.m. and 10:30 because we've got some awesome kids programming we know your children would enjoy. We also want to encourage you guys, as you're at home, to continue your child's discipleship through our family resources page on our website and also through downloading the Parent Q app, which has got tons of great activities that go along with our Bible lesson each week. So with that, we hope you guys enjoyed this week's Bible story.
The Israelites were God's special people, and they lived thousands of years ago, back when your parents were kids.
Gnarly.
Actually, thousands of years takes us back to the Bible times, even before Jesus was born. God chose the Israelites to be his special people and blessed the whole world with the birth of our Savior, Jesus. But first, God had a mission for the Israelites. They had to invent electric guitars so they could form the first rock and roll band. I mean, they had to show other nations how awesome God is and what he's like, so the other nations would worship him too. The Israelites weren't great examples though. They sinned a lot. They kept turning to false gods, worshiping terrible idols, and ignoring God's command to love others. So, God sent prophets to warn the Israelites. Prophets are certain people who speak God's important words to others. The prophets warned the Israelites that if they didn't return to God's ways, God wouldn't protect them from other nations. For millions of years, the Israelite leaders did a bad job of listening to the prophets. Wait, I mean hundreds of years. For hundreds of years, the Israelite leaders did a bad job of listening. It was still a really long time. And so the Israelites were conquered, just like God said they would be, and they were kicked out of their home and land. God still cared about them, so he sent them a prophet named Ezekiel with some good news. God had given Ezekiel a vision. A vision is a special picture from God's Spirit. In Ezekiel's vision, God brought him to a valley filled with dry bones, and God asked Ezekiel, "Son of man, can these bones live?" Ezekiel answered, "No way!" Huh? That's not true. He knew God can do anything he wants. So Ezekiel said, "Lord and King, you are the only one who knows." Good answer. But what does a bunch of bones have to do with the Israelites? Well, God was showing Ezekiel that the Israelites were like a pile of dry bones in the valley. Because of their sin, they had lost everything, and they were hopeless. So God told Ezekiel to speak to the bones and say, "I will put breath in you, then you will come to life again." After Ezekiel spoke the words, the bones began to rattle and come together. Then the tendons, and finally they were covered with skin, but they weren't alive yet, because there was no breath. So then God told Ezekiel to tell breath to enter the bodies so they could live again. And when Ezekiel said it, the bones became living, breathing people. And not just any people. They were an army. Pretty cool, huh? God told Ezekiel that the Israelites were hopeless on their own, piles of dry bones. But God was going to bring them back and put his Spirit into them, his breath of life. Then they'd know that God had saved them and he wasn't going to give up on them. God gave Ezekiel this vision of good news for the Israelites, and we have good news to share with others too. Our news is about how Jesus came back to life after he died to save us from our sin. His death wasn't a vision though. It was real life. God didn't give up on the Israelites, and Jesus' death and resurrection shows us that he won't give up on us. He's always willing to forgive us, to bring us back to him, and to restore us to a new life in Jesus. Phew! I don't know about you, but I am glad that God has good news for his people.